Well, hi everyone. Welcome back to Frankenmuth. We're in the third episode here of the first little bit of October, and I thought we'd do a little bit different today. Um, I've been working on a whole bunch of contracts that we're able to fill here, so figured I'd start with the first one. So Tyler McFlynn is looking for 750,000 liters worth of manure. In return, I get 200 bales of straw. So I accepted the contract on the stipulations of I get 100 big squares and 100 rounds. And then what they would do is give me 100 total bales up front. And then I would work the manure off as it goes. I've put 200,000 liters in there out of the 750 so far. And then next month, he's going to have the last of the straw ready to go. So we're going to receive that straw at that point. So this is his first two truckloads. So there's 50 round bales, and I believe there's 38 or 39, 38, I think is what there is for squares. So that'll start off for this. And then from there, the straw bales, Hammer Ag is looking for 100 big squares and 100 rounds. That's why I asked for them to be split up from Tyler. So in that deal, we're going to get fair market value for each of those bales. So I'll get that worked out here going into the next little bit. Okay. So then on top of that, I've been over to the chicken barns. The layers have produced 18 pallets worth of eggs. So I've got Andy Clean. He's looking for 4 pallets, and that's going to be a cash value plus 25% because it's organic. I've got Frank from Manetti Estates. He's looking for 4 pallets, and he's willing to trade me for 140 small square hay bales. So keep that in mind. I got another thing after we finish that up. Okay. And then we've got Spicer's Bakery looking for 1 pallet. We've got Greenlee Eggs looking for 5 right now, but they want a total of 40 over the year. And I've got Harvey Eggs. They're looking for 4 pallets, but 30 over the year. And they'll be cash plus 25% because of the organic. So that's going to clean out our eggs for right now. But again, we're getting enough produced each month by the layers that we should be able to keep going on a bunch of those contracts. Okay, so then you take, we've got a whole bunch of hay bales sitting in storage right now. So Ranger Ed Zoo is looking for 14 big square bales of hay, and he's willing to trade 50,000 liters of manure. So you can see how this is all getting intertwined and how much time and effort it's taking to put these all together to get them to all fit and cross and do everything like that, right? So the 50,000 liters of the manure, Farmer Kinnan is looking for that much, and he's willing to trade for 6 skids of seed for next spring. So that's going to work out perfect for us because we'll be able to use the seed for corn and soybeans and everything else that we put in. So that's perfect. Okay, now come back to the 140 small square hay bales from Frank at Manetti Estates. I've got Trinity Flowers looking for 56 small squares. I've got Dave Boggers looking for 56 small square bales. And I got Cody Brinks looking for 24. So that covers all 140. And it basically works out to be about 96 bucks a bale. So I'm going to get $5,400 from Trinity, $5,400 from Dave, and about $2,400 from Cody. All right, that's the first part. Now we got one more. Loftus Sugar has just called. They want 200 liters of our first lifted sugar beets as soon as we can get it to them. And they're willing to update the 3-point hit sugar beet planter that I've currently got to a new version. And whatever's left, it'll be market plus 10% because they're organic. And then last one is Ralph Dickerson. He's looking for 500,000 liters of sugar beets. And he's willing to trade either the use of whatever equipment he has that we could use, or he's willing to rent us his land at the value of whatever the 500,000 liters is. So I'm thinking that I would go for the land potentially there. But that's just the start of what this whole thing can be, right, for these contracts. So I hope people are maybe starting to see what this is and how it works. Um, Again, it's all hypothetical. I understand that, and I hope everybody does too. But it literally is just a different way of playing this game rather than using the numbers that we expect in the game and stuff and working it through and horse trading and doing all this funky stuff, right? So that's my plan over the next series, basically. Episode 1, or episode 3 of this series right now, of today. And I'm going to get these straw bales taken over. We'll probably leave the trucks just sitting there to unload. I don't know if I'll get to them right here today or not. But the other thing that we've ended up having to do, pardon me, is our wheat fields, being organic, they have come up with weeds in them after planting already here in October. So my father-in-law had a um, small weeder. It was like a 20-foot weeder that he was using. Obviously, as we've grown with this organic thing, we've needed to go bigger, and we're finally at the point where we can get bigger now. And I ended up upgrading the weeder to a 24-meter horse, which is on the 720 right now, sitting in the first wheat field. So we will get that done here today, and then hopefully get over to where the eggs and stuff are and get that field weeded as well. But I think that's what's going to be today. The silage group is finished and headed out. I've got to get the ripper over to that cornstalk field and get it ripped, and then we'll start putting some digestate down on it. I believe the Zarian is still sitting out back. They're still compacting the bunk, and then we'll get it covered here later today or first of the next day. And yeah, so there's lots going on. Not as much field work, obviously, right at this very second, just because of all the rain that we had. But getting these contracts figured out, we'll get a whole bunch of stuff figured there, get the payments brought in, get things transferred and moved over, and ultimately get some more money put in. I don't know if I've actually ever mentioned it, but I actually do have a $500,000 operating line that I took out when we took over the farm here. And I need to get that repaid back at some point. So if we keep making some money here, we'll get things repaid there and be able to be on our way to starting to pay my father-in-law off. But I'm very happy with how things are going here so far. We got the back field here. The beets are lifted. Things got to drying up over the last hour and a half or 2 hours or so. And both the machines got back running. I think they're just finishing up their last little bit there to finish that field off. And then we'll move to the south field, which is over on the other side of the driveway and the biogas plant. And then we'll have to move up to the northwest corner here above the where the wheat was and get that pulled off here at some point over the next little bit. But we're trying to get everything done here that we can, because then all of a sudden it's going to be beans and corn coming off. And then it's getting everything prepared to get it all put away and ready to go for next year. Ultimately, I'd like to try and get cover crops put into everything. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that depending on how the weather stays here for October and November, but that's the ultimate goal. And then obviously we've got the cows. I've got some beef cows that are getting close to being ready to go. I've also got some pigs that are approaching the 10 and 12 month points there that will be basically the end of the farrow to finish portion of it. So we'll end up getting rid of them and bringing some new ones back in. So anyways, there's lots going on. So I'm going to leave straw bales sitting here right now. I'll probably just hop in the Kubota and run over to the 720, and we can start weeding that field and getting it cleaned up and make sure that we've got a nice clean wheat field for start of next year. I'm hoping that we don't get a whole lot of weeds back in the spring, and just sort of see what happens here with that. So I'll grab the Kubota here and we'll go for a drive. Don't know why it always does that with the power washer, but anyways. Here. cover crops look great. Came up really nice, really even. So I don't know, I'll have to decide whether I terminate them before winter or just let the winter kill do its thing. I'm a little scared there's some basically taproot crops in there. I'm a little worried about getting down to the tile lines, so we may end up terminating it here. I might even do that with the digestive, but at the same point I'd like to keep it there if we can so it covers for the winter. Vote. What do you think? Should we keep them or do we need to terminate them before we get into December here? Let me know down in the comments. So there's our wheat field. Look at the beets that came up. Like, holy smokes. I would not have expected that with no-till wheat going in, but it came up bad. So I ended up getting this over here and just going along the one headland just to make sure that everything was set up, and it was doing a great job. So I'll park this down here at the house and just walk back up to the tractor, and we can get going on weeding. But yeah, it's a 24 meter Cura. And I love the idea of the Cura because it's got every one is on an individual spring rather than being on a coil tine. So I've got these set just aggressive enough to not do any damage to the wheat, but it's pulling out all of these tall weeds. Right, get rolling here. Down, gauge the auto steer, and we're weeding. I think this is going to be awesome for us with the organic aspect of it and the fact that there's such a market around this area for organic. I think having a big unit like this to be able to get across some of these acres is going to be very important for us. I've got a transformer, which is the row crop version of this coming. It's a little narrower. It's a 12 meter, but it's coming for spring. So we'll end up doing all of our corn. We're going to do sugar beets in 20s, so we'll end up using this for that. Soybeans I may end up doing in 30s. I'm not sure how we're going to handle that one yet, but if we do it in 30s, we'll end up using the transformer row crop cultivator. Otherwise, we'll end up using this to cover that as well. So I'm just going to drive straight through here because the cover crops aren't really going to matter if I drive on it. Swing back here. I'll steer, grab onto, and drop her in, and we're off. But you can see it's doing a whoop. Dropped onto the wrong line. Typical GPS. But it's pulling out all those little weeds just perfectly. There is a rotary hoe that's available that's pretty quick. I don't know about rotary hoes. In the past, they've always just been sort of a rescue to help break up ground that's been rained on heavily. The plants don't want to emerge through them, stuff like that. And that's always what I've used it for. I've never actually used it for weeds. I know down in Central United States, they do that a little bit, maybe. I don't know. But I think I'm going to lean more towards this tine weeder and the row crop cultivator, I think, for our crops right now to keep looking after all this stuff. It is a monster. Look at the size of those sections. Crazy. Probably shouldn't have driven into that field. That is not our sugar beets. Sorry about that. 720 pulls it perfect. The big tires are actually great with this wheat because it's not going to do any damage to it at this early stage. And look at that. Works great. I also had one of the dealerships come out, and they offered me a little bit of a bargain here, if you want to call it. So it was Vanessa sales, and it's a discount on machinery. So for every 300 or 30,000 liters of corn or soybeans that gets sold into the local elevator here, whether that's directly to me or getting exported and sold to another farmer, they're willing to give 15% off the machinery up to a maximum of $100,000 in one session. So that'd be interesting. I'm gonna have to play with that one a little bit and see what that actually works out to. And I don't really think that there was anything else that I'm thinking about doing right at the moment, but we'll have to see where our money gets to here after we get all these contracts filled and sugar beets sold and corn and beans sold, and maybe over the winter, maybe we will end up doing something, but we'll have to see. I want to be frugal with everything, just because obviously the goal of this whole thing is not to have a whole new fleet of equipment. It's to buy the farm from my father-in-law so that it's now taken over by my wife and myself, and it can be profitable for us. So we'll have to see. Obviously, updating equipment is important, very important actually, based on depreciations and everything else that's happening right now. A lot of people, like what I was offered on the 936, it's a payment. It's I'm going to pay $4,150 a month, and based on that, I get a 3-year warranty with it, and I don't have to worry about anything other than putting insurance and putting the fuel in. That's huge today in this ag sector, and there are many, 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 many people that are doing that in real life just to try and maintain costs. They have a fixed operating cost based on that amount on that tractor, and they flip every 3 years. So it's definitely something that it's in the back of my head. I'm very happy we bought the 720. I'm very happy we bought the 936. Tillage tractor with the Challenger, I think it's doesn't get enough hours yet that it's really, really necessary to flip it, even though, gosh, that Fendt was awesome. But I think we'll leave it for now. And then, I mean, the only other possibility would be the 8R. But again, it's low enough hours right now. Probably run it another year and not really have too much of an issue that you'd need to do anything with it. The old tractors, the old 4455 and the 4440, now that I've got them, I don't think I'll ever do anything with them. They're such an awesome tractor. I don't think there's a point in getting rid of those two tractors, because for hay, you put those two on a baler or a rake or anything like that along with this tractor, and we got everything just about covered. So anyways, put your comments down below if you think that we should look at possibly updating some equipment over the winter. If you think yes, what? And we'll just sort of see where things go with this whole thing. So, all right, up and backs. We shouldn't take too long to finish this field off, and then we'll get moved over to the other piece. Trying to think out what else is going on here. I'm looking forward to getting that seed from the one gentleman we're going to do some trading with. Yeah, it's really neat how everything's sort of fitting together to be able to horse trade for certain things and stuff like that, and it potentially could make us a bunch of money, which is great. Look at the flex down into that gully. Oh, all right, so there we go. Age. Should be able to get that cleaned up. All right. Um, I'm very, very positive with Fendt. Sell them. That's one of the things why I am. But how many others are actually using Fendt on your Let's Plays right now? And if you are, what do you think of them? Is it because you like them? Is it just because a deal came up on one? What? what got you to put a Fent on your Let's Play? All right, well, I think we got another 1, 2, 3 passes or so. This should get this licked. I might just run this back and maybe unload those square bales just off onto the ground so that we can be able to get them moved over to Hammer Ag, and we'll end up delivering that with our truck probably is what we'll end up doing. So we'll maybe go back and do some bales here before the end of the episode, and that'll be it for today probably. But so this tine weeder, obviously in the game, it has to be done very early with the weeds very small, and it's that same way in real life too. Um, so what it does is typically wheat, soybeans, anything you plant, it's planted at an inch-ish or so deep. Those roots can get established very well because of the softer dirt and the fact that it's actually planted. Weeds, on the other hand, typically the ones that germinate are the ones that are sitting up on top of the ground surface, and they germinate and then they push roots in from there. But they're typically not as well rooted, and that's where these tine weeders work, is that they sit there and they can pull all they want to on the weed, but it can't get pulled out. Whereas with the weeds, they are not as well rooted and they can be pulled out very easily, and then they die because they're sitting on top of the surface and they don't get to grow anymore. So that's how the tine weeder actually works, and that's why in the game it has to be the small weeds that it's getting pulled out. And then the transformer will be the similar way. It can handle bigger weeds technically, but the idea is to get them done small. And in real life, you would typically go back and maybe do it 2 or 3 times. So that's the difference with the row crop cultivator. Better view. I noticed that the green bean harvester is still sitting over here, and talked to the guys, and they ended up having a couple hydraulic leaks on a hose that the hose hasn't come in yet. They got things finished on their other farms, but asked if we could just leave it there for a few days, and I said of course. So it should be out of there here hopefully in the next little bit once they get things fixed. Hope that'll get it on the next pass or not. I think it might be this one and another one. Hope it doesn't come back in the spring again. I don't know how that works with the game yet. It should pull them out here and not come back, I think. But we may end up weeding again in the spring. We'll definitely end up putting top dress digestate full rate on top of this with the manure guys stuff. That dribble bar, we'll end up using that for sure to be able to get it fertilized. One more. We'll end up back down here at this end, and then we can fold up and run back to the house for a few minutes. While we're doing this, some other things that I've been looking at. There are a bunch of wood contracts that need to get looked at. Here, yeah, lots of wood. So we've got that wood lot at the end of the wheat field. We'll try and get a bunch of that looked after, but there's one in there that's looking for 64-meter logs, and that gives you 500,000 liters worth of barley. Well, that's a ton. Like, that's awesome. And then we've got barley. We've got a whole bunch of people looking for barley, where we can trade for machinery. We can do all sorts of different stuff up there too. So that'll be some stuff that we get a chance to work on over the winter, trying to get some of that wood stuff done. I don't know whether we'll do it by hand. Might see if we can get one of the local guys with a harvester to come in. And I haven't really looked at that wood in there. I know there's lots of it, but I'm not sure if it's maple or pines or what. If it's pines, I would consider getting a harvester to come in and help us with that and just chunk it all up into the sizes that we need and go that way. If it's maples and stuff like that, where the tree trunks and everything are very, I call it spidery, obviously that's going to be more of a hand thing that we're going to end up doing, which I'm willing to do it, but it kind of sucks. I like the harvester better. Let somebody else do it. Obviously we'd have to pay them for it, so that's another part of this whole thing. But the amount of speed that they can do that with, it be in and out in a day, 2 days maybe, with some of the stuff that we would need. So I'll look into that when we get a chance and see, but that's definitely something that I'm looking at trying to accomplish here as we get into the fall and the winter. Just about there. Hold up. I might just leave this here, and then we'll take the Kubota back over and unload a few bales there. I'm ever glad that the rain stopped. It was starting to get a little concerning there. I wasn't sure that we were going to be able to do anything at all moving forward. So one problem with October is that if it starts to rain, typically it never dries. Never. It always stays soft and moist and everything. But it's dried off enough here that at least we can get this tine weeder going. Sugar beet lifters are back going again, which is great. And yeah, we should be able to keep going here with some other crops when we move into November. Let's do this. Off the grass. Back. Perfect. Okay. All right, well, I'll run this back over. I'll meet you over there and start unloading some straw bales. All right, well, I think what we'll do is I'm going to unload that square one easier, especially with that new bale grab that we got for the JCB. So we'll pull that truck up and up here, and we'll just set this off onto the side for now. You can see they're still packing the bunk back there, but they're getting pretty darn close. This. Grab our loader here, and we'll pick some of these bales off. I find this very relaxing, actually. I don't know why, I do. Alright, so let's do a bit of time here to start with off. stack of beets this morning here. Not too much trouble. Oh. Yeah, the other thing we got to think about is I've still got that big square baler sitting here that we got to do something with. They told me that our little round baler is completed, so we either need to go grab it and use it, or we need to keep both. I don't know what to do. I love that baler. I think with these grabs, I think it's incredible way to handle this straw and everything. So I think we should probably end up keeping it. So I think some of this money that we've got coming in here will end up going towards that baler too. All right, well, I'm gonna grab probably one or two more here, and we'll say that that's it for this episode. I've found that it's easier to take the ropes off rather than work your way down through the pile. So you can lift and crank your steering wheel back a little bit, moving back, and not pull those other bales down. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for watching today. I hope you're enjoying these videos, as it appears people are. We're picking up some more views every single time. A lot of the original parts of this series, and even some of the horse farm, are getting lots of views on it, so thank you all for that. There was an update on the horse farm the other day, so I may end up going back and trying that just to see if I can get things to work a little bit better on that. I don't know if that's going to fix it or not, but for sure we're going to keep going on Frankenmuth here. I do have another map, as I said before, that I'm almost done getting preset, so we'll end up being able to do that as a second series along to this. So yeah, we'll just see where the things go, and as people request things, if you want some stuff that's custom, let me know. I'm happy to do it. So I want to thank everybody again, and see you on the next one. Talk to you later.